long before this finishes?
Hmm?
Much longer before this finishes?
2 hours. Well, hello. Hope everybody's had a good week so far. Yeah, mine hasn't been so great. A couple of things that have happened, but I'll get into that now.
Well,
I think
hello.
maybe
Hope
I'll just give it a little bit of an
everybody's
update as I
had a
go,
good week so far.
and been so great. Life has been a little bit tricky. So I've got some news from Uncle Paolo. I've also got some news as to my accommodation. Um, yeah, and I've gone along and cut down a whole lot of trees, and only to find that I haven't really done too much because I'm going to have to probably plant it all again. So if you just give me 1 second, I just need to sort out one or two things. Uh, Alrighty, I'm back. Apologies for that. Righty, so yes, so let's kick off with the most important stuff. Uncle Paolo. So Uncle Paolo was he was arrested for misappropriating other people's stuff. So now I don't know if he's done anything wrong. That's for the courts to decide. I haven't had a chance to speak to Uncle Paolo, but I'm hoping that it's nothing too serious, and that this will all get sorted out, and everybody will find their respective ways. Uh, at this point in time, though, I'm not sure what to think. I'm hoping Uncle Paolo gets his life sorted out and fixes whatever needs to be fixed. But the 2 weeks that I spoke about, you know, those 2 weeks have passed, and I've gotten feedback that Uncle Paolo is going to be staying to go for a further court date. So his preliminary hearing, he has been unsuccessful in that. So it means that unofficially he has been found to be guilty enough for them to proceed with the case, if that makes any sense. I'm not a lawyer. I can tell you, everything that needs to be known here. However, Uncle Paolo is a pretty resilient guy, and he has made it possible for a few things to happen. So first of all, the first thing I've got is we've managed to freeze his assets completely for the time being. That means that I can continue working where I am. And I can continue to make a living out of what I've got. Because of the COVID virus that's going around at the moment, and all the people that are unfortunately really sad that people are getting sick, and even worse so, people are dying, I have to sit tight. I have to stay where I am. I can work the fields, but I'm not permitted to engage with anybody, within reason. If I go to a shop and buy stuff to eat or anything like that, that I need to do. But there's no social gatherings allowed whatsoever, not even to a minimum value. If you're caught congregating in a groups of more than 3, then you're liable to be in quite a bit of hot water. So so I don't expect to see any people around, not in the short term at least. And I don't see any kind of change that's happening. So even if there is, the court case does proceed, there is going to be quite a long wait for everything. Nothing's going to happen in a hurry, and it gives me probably about 6 months to carry on with what I've got here. So now you'll see I have managed to go a little bit crazy, and I was lucky enough to loan a piece of equipment from a local farmer. Well, loan would be a bad word for it. He charged me 5,000 euros to use a tractor with with front forks, and all I could do with that was to actually go and cut off the trees and start moving them around until he came and claimed his vehicle again. And I've now got scattered trees all over the place that I need to go and get sorted out. And with any luck, I should have some money coming in off the back of this, and let's see how that goes. So the Paolo news was just part of it. The second piece of news is that the lockdown. Everybody is committed to stay where they are. Nobody's allowed moving around unless specifically instructed to do so. We're in the first couple of weeks of this all happening, so nobody really knows what to do. And Italy's been hit really, really hard. So I feel very sad about what's going on for the people around me. I unfortunately have not been affected negatively, except for the fact that I can't travel. So I'm hoping. Did I just chop that old tree? Lovely. I'm hoping that we can find some kind of scenario where this gets dealt with and we're not in fear of our lives all the time. But we'll get there. I'm sure that this, as with many other major diseases, a solution will be found, whether it be a change in behavior or whether it be, a vaccine or anything of that nature. Time will tell where we go with it. So, Uncle Paolo and his property. I have got effectively 6 months on this property that I can carry on doing whatever I want. The property is not mine. I may have the option to buy it, once we get to the point that the 6 months are up and the court cases kind of start drawing to a close. But I'm not holding my breath for that, because it seems pretty serious, the trouble he's gotten himself into. So I'm expecting him to be arrested, or at least remanded in custody. I don't see him getting out anytime soon, which is kind of sad. He's a really great guy. He's one of those mainstays of our family. So, everybody knows him and loves him. And the fact that this has come up is a shock to everybody. And I'm hoping that it is a misunderstanding, but I've spoken to the lawyer, and the lawyer has been pretty clear as to what's going on. It is serious. It is something that is not going to go away, not without someone paying the price for what has happened. I don't know the details of what that is. I just know that it does mean that he's facing a significant period of time in jail if he gets found guilty. So I'm hoping for his case that he is innocent and he gets found innocent. For my sake, not to be selfish or anything, but my life is very much directly linked to his at this point in time. So if he doesn't make it out, well, I'm in trouble because I have no passport. I've been allowed to stay in the country purely of the fact that the coronavirus has locked down the airports, and there's just no travel allowed at the moment. And the fact that I'm a foreigner in this country. Everybody's scrutinizing what I'm doing, and being very, actually quite mean and friendly at the same time, if that makes any sense. So let's have a look. These logs are really, really heavy. Well, the one thing I do have that does provide a little bit of relief is I actually still get to do my radio stream, and I can still get to speak to people. And I was lucky enough to chat to one of the guys from Giant Software tonight, Chucky, and that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, physically we couldn't meet, but because it's online, we could have the chat, and we can get through a few interesting subjects. So yeah, I hope that you guys do have a chance and go and listen to that. It will be available for streaming later, and hopefully the subjects we spoke about, like precision farming and like the FSL, the stuff that we did cover, Alpine Farming DLC, which you can win, by the way. There is a draw at the moment. All of those things come out as discussed and better. I really think that the guys from Giants are going to pull out a win with the precision farming stuff, even though, there's no doubt that they're going to. I mean, all their products have just been getting better and better as time passes. So I'm looking forward to that stuff. Alrighty, so our accommodation. We have been fortunate enough to retain our accommodation. So we've got the house that's there. It's costing us €250 a month. He was being quite unreasonable about it before, but they've dropped the price quite a bit. So I think maybe because everybody's in a little bit of a bad space, everybody is just reacting, not knowing what to do. Glad we got that sorted out. Then the Mahindra. As the Mahindra was not bought by my uncle, but rather it was something that was bought by my family, me coming over to Italy to come and work in the fields. They wanted to make sure that I had a vehicle. This was kind of a gift. So by family, I mean, it was my parents that are fortunately still around. But they can't help me where I am at the moment because I'm just too far away and they don't really have the funds. And also the coronavirus again. I kind of hate saying that. It's quite frustrating even hearing that word these days. But the Mahindra is mine, so I will probably need to do the right thing and just kind of give the money back at some point. But until I leave this country, I'm going to use it as an asset to go and build my assets. So if I can sell it to buy a better vehicle, I'm going to do that, which I'm seriously considering to do. There's the 32s or the 82s that are available. I cut that too big. The 82s that are available, and that gives me a much more robust vehicle. I can put a tow body on the back, and I can maybe go and get a a better trailer setup, because these trailers are going to flip this little Mahindra, and maybe we can get it to work a little bit better like that. The funds that I have got, as you can see, I have just been clearing this field like a mad person, and because of the outcome of what's going to happen, with the possibility of something more severe happening, I can't actually take this property and develop it. I can take all the plants off it, and I've been instructed to plant 2 new trees for every tree that I cut down. I'm not sure if I told you about that. There was a little bit of an incident where I was cutting trees without a permit, and I happened to cut trees on the wrong farm as well. So instead of going to court, and because of the current climate and everything, basically the officer that was dealing with the situation, he gave me the option to buy the trees and then go and replace 2 trees for every tree that I've cut down, which I feel is a fair deal. It's a lot of money. I mean, it's €1,000 per pallet of 20 trees. So for every 10 trees I've cut down, and I've cut down a lot more than 10 trees, I need to go and buy a pallet of trees at €1,000, find a way of transporting it, and then also come and plant those trees back onto this field. So it's going to be interesting. I do not have a time frame on this. I've been told as long as it's done before I give up the field to either back to my uncle again, or if this gets remanded to the state or anything like that. So it depends on what happens. So we've got basically 6 months to get those trees planted. So hopefully we make enough money by then to be able to buy the trees, hire the equipment, and be able to go and install or plant them all. And maybe I can get them to grow tall enough in 6 months that I harvest them and go and replant them again. As long as I've got 22 trees for every tree that I'm cutting down, grown trees that I'm cutting down, by the time I close off here, there wasn't any specific kind of, it has to be a fully grown tree. So if I can take advantage of the situation, let's see how it goes. So we're going to go and drop off this wood, and then we're going to go and buy ourselves a bigger vehicle. Unfortunately, there's not much in terms of tractors. However, despite being a foreigner, I have been given some capacity to go and lease equipment. I may not lease for anything more than 10% of the value of the vehicle that I have cash on hand. So I can't go and lease a vehicle over 100,000 right now because I've only got 10,000 on me. So I can go and lease a little bit, and hopefully that'll help me grow things a little bit. But right now I may not take anything greater than that value. That includes contracts. If there are any contracts in the area that are available to me to do, as long as I can lease the equipment, as long as that equipment does not exceed 10%, or my current cash in hand may not be less than 10% of the value of those vehicles. And I still have to pay leasing costs and everything. So if the leasing cost is 10,000 and the vehicle's worth 100,000, I need to have 20,000 available in hand to be able to use that vehicle. It is a bit tricky, but at least it's better than nothing. I didn't have the opportunity to lease any vehicles before. So we are in a slightly better space. We'll see how that goes. Okay, we're not going to stack these too heavily. Let's see what we can do around getting a vehicle to get around with. Ooh, that's going to end well. Okay, It was less painful than I thought it would be. This field's shaping up quite nicely. It's a pity I'm not going to be able to develop this field. What is nice though is the opportunity of being able to make some money and potentially buy another field and get that developed and get a little bit of a homestead going. So we have got a lot of costs at the moment, but we're not in too bad a shape. Let's see what happens over the next 6 months, and we can develop a little bit. Hopefully, COVID does its thing, and gets dealt with, and scientists find a cure. But considering what it is, I don't see that happening in anything less than maybe 18 months to 2 years. I hope sooner than that. Just purely not even being selfish about this. It's just so many people are being affected by this. Forget the people that are dying because of it. Look at what's happening with the people that are losing their jobs, and businesses are closing down, and economies that are shutting down. I'm lucky that I'm in a position where I can actually still make a living, and there's people that are prepared to buy what I'm producing. It could have been far worse. So, take the win where you can. Alrighty, so let's go sell some timber and see how much money we've got. This timber's pricing is not too bad. A load like this does about 2 or 3 thousand euros. I've had to spend a lot. There was the 5,000 for the tractor that I rented, which I think I got ripped off. So I'm gonna have to go and see what I can do to recover some of that money. But if you can see how much timber has been chopped down there, I did use it for a full day just to chop things down and move everything around. So it is a little bit better than expected. And I've got the accommodation and a few other things that I need to look at. So I can possibly put maybe 30,000 euros together. Now the question is, do I go and lease a vehicle or vehicles or components to the value of 300,000, because that's the capacity that I've got? That leaves me no room to breathe. I can't use that money for anything else. If I dip below that, I lose the leased vehicle and I forfeit that amount. So the penalties are pretty harsh. I suppose it's just the community trying to protect themselves against any kind of outsiders causing issues. So alrighty, so I'm going to try something new. These sides can actually come off. Haha. So that'll maybe make it a little bit easier to load. Alrighty. Don't worry, I'm making myself seasick as well. Alrighty, let's just minimize this. I am getting a little bit of load on my stream. Alrighty, there we go. I do think that maybe there's some equipment here that's causing a little bit of lag. For those of you who might recognize this piece of equipment here, no, I do not have access to the funds that are associated to that piece of equipment. Anything that comes back from that needs to go back into the kind of the farm's kitty, if you can put it that way. It is not some money that I can access at any point in time. This belongs to my Uncle Paolo, and depending on what happens with him, it may just belong to, it might be claimed as part of, his fines or whatever that might be imposed, depending on what happens. Again, like I said, I don't know the details. I just know that the word theft was brought up, but whether that was theft of, physical items, or theft of information, or what it was, still to be seen. The big thing is, though, that everybody that I've spoken to has indicated that it is pretty serious, and it could result in him being deported. As much as Uncle Paolo is, Italian by descent, he is not an Italian citizen, and he is actually a South African citizen that moved back to Italy, I think about a decade and a half ago. I think it was about 15 years ago. So he's still trying to get citizenship, and this type of thing, you basically guaranteed you're not going to get citizenship if you make a mistake like this. So we're hoping that everything's okay and it's not too serious, and it's maybe some kind of a false accusation, or it isn't what everybody thinks it is. We'll see. Wow, this is very sticky. Let me just for those of you following in stream, we do have a competition. Hopefully you guys can do better out of that competition than I do. It is for it's for the alpine farming key, and hopefully you can win something. What is quite interesting is, for those who follow my stream and know who I am, thank you so much to my followers. I managed to achieve Twitch affiliate status on Saturday night, so you'll see now the stream has changed a little bit. There's more in terms of there's bits and there's subscriptions, and there's there's a whole lot more functionality you can do. I'm going to be adding quite a few things to that, so we'll see how it goes over the next while. Pretty exciting stuff, and I'm hoping to grow this a little bit. So if anybody's got any suggestions or anything like that, please, by all means, bring them up. I'll do whatever I can to make it happen, but I want to definitely be giving away a lot more. Hey Kieran, how you doing, man? Glad to see you in stream. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, so I'm just making sure. I've now got 15 different echoes that are happening at the moment. So I didn't actually see your message earlier, Kieran. I think there was maybe a little bit of an issue. I don't know if you're still online. Just give us a shout. To make it happen. Alright, so that's that. Cool. Alrighty, let's finish offloading this. And then we're going to go spend some money. Hopefully we can make the money back again. Almost done. I think there's like 3 more pieces left. That one's good. Alrighty, cool. Was there one on this side? No, there was only two. I thought there was three. Alrighty, so let's go and fetch. Let's go and buy something. Hopefully, looking at 10 in the morning. Yeah, my driving skills. Let's hope I don't need to actually get a license in Italy, because I may have a problem. But then again, I've heard stories about Italian drivers from my Uncle Paolo. I would need to go a long way to beat some of the stories he told me. Oops, that's a great way to drive. Looking at your rear seat. So I've been live for 31 minutes already. That means I've been on for 26. Time flies. I don't realize how quickly things go. So for you, those of you who are unfortunate enough, oops, kill the pedestrian, how to get kicked out of the country. For those of you who are not fortunate enough to win the Alpine DLC, either through me or any other streamer that it's got, or any other form of competition, we are running the competition now, first of all, and we're also looking at adding more giveaways. So maybe by the end of the month we will see another opportunity for another Alpine DLC. And we're also looking forward to the possibility of being able to add DLCs for other games, complimentary type games. And we'll see how it goes. Maybe we can make this a regular thing where we do a small giveaway on every stream, and we do a bigger giveaway once a week, and then we do quite a significant giveaway once a month. If you're given the opportunity, what would you like to see happen? What DLCs or prizes would you want to see? Maybe a 400 or 500 rand, or maybe 20 or 25 euro, Steam prize, or maybe some kind of Google Play prize, that type of thing. Any suggestions are welcome. You can hit me up here in the chat, or you can maybe message me on my Twitch offline, or DM me, or you can maybe get onto our Discord and discuss it with me there, or Twitter. It's weatherman_ZA. Any of those channels are available. Excuse me for 1 second. Alright, I hope that wasn't a stupid mistake selling that vehicle without checking prices first. Let's go and see what's available in the shop. So we have 29,000. So 29,000. So what I'm interested in doing is going for this 82. So that 82 has got, as it stands, doesn't have anything, but we can actually put a body onto this vehicle. So those log trailers that we've got, we can actually go and add one of those onto here, and we can work on it from there. So I can lease this equipment, and maybe get all the equipment now and maybe buy the vehicle later. Or I can then I can take a few more things where I can go and maybe upgrade. Don't really worry about that, but let's say if I can upgrade the motor, I can get the 4.2 liter version, which gives me a little bit more horsepower, and then I can have more trailers, so I can pull more at a time. Alternatively, if I'm going to lease it, I can look at the 6.7 liter single cab. That's maybe an option. So if I take the single cab, I can then go and do all the attachments just the same. We've got the V8 turbocharged motor, which is 2,200, and we can go with fairly heavy tires, so can take quite a big load. Or I'm thinking maybe the duals. And if I wanted to, I can then go and paint it and whatnot. So that's 44,000, which is 4,400, which is we're far clear from that number. It is, however, 2,245 euros. It's going to cost us 924 a day. Sorry, 440 a day, and then for every hour we're running it, only 924. But this vehicle is going to be standing most of the time, so we'll go and hook the trailers, park it, load up the vehicle, and then take everything across. So I'm thinking that 2,245 euros, which is all of this together, and then a potential of maybe another full day and maybe an extra hour. So we're looking at 1,300. So we're looking at 3,500 euros. If we had to buy this vehicle, we'd lose that value in that kind of period anyway. We can maybe drop the extras. We don't need to take the bigger motor. The duals I do want, and we can take the presets off as well. So we're not interested in all the different kits and everything. We don't need that. The mirrors are folded back. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm taking the mirrors just purely because it's pretty neat. We don't want sport, we don't want performance, we don't want off-road. Let's have a look. Off-road winter, no, we're good for that. It's this off-road 2,300. So 3,100. So we've dropped the price by 5,000. So if we take that, that's 200 euros that we're saving ourselves by doing that. I do want the duals because just for traction, because I'm looking at towing three trailers. I'm not going to paint it because that's going to just cost money for no value. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lease that. So we're still clear as long as we have, I'm going to round it up, 4,000 in our account to cover any costs. So we can then go to our trailers and we can go and put on another one of these, and that we can buy outright, so that's all fine. Yeah, I think that'll work. So if we look at the 82, we've got the TLX 2020 Logit, which we can just back that in there. So we now have 3 trailers that we can load logs onto. We don't need any lighting, so I'm going to buy this one for 3,500. Okay, so let's go and have a look at what we got there. So there's our vehicle. It's actually quite a nice vehicle. Let's see what the cab looks like. That is pretty neat. TLX 2020. Love the attention to detail. And our mirrors work. So we can actually back this up. Yeah. Let's see if we can adjust mirrors. Nope. Okay, so let's go this way. That mirror is completely out. How do I adjust these mirrors? I don't see it. Think it has the ability to... Okay, so I've got something. That's the tailgate that I'm assuming. It's got a front lift arm, but I don't see anything actually reacting off it. Alrighty, so let's see if we can back this up without losing our minds. That's a lot better. Ha ha ha, not even close. Okay, let's just go with this because I'm going to suck at that and I'm just going to frustrate myself as well as you. So I see this got an overhead rack, so we can maybe pack this closed with the smaller stuff. and then pack these trailers all full. No, we don't want you. No. Ah, that is pretty neat. So I can use this as a flatbed load as well. Okay, awesome. So, moving along swiftly, let's get back to the field and go and load some logs. We can now cut these logs the maximum length we can because we now have got the length overhead. Obviously, we can't pick up the heavier logs, so we'll have to just do what we can do. Wow, this thing is pretty quick. Just gotta be careful I don't break any laws. It's much quicker and much more stable than the Mahindra. At least I didn't drive through the pedestrian that time. Volvo drivers, you guys are terrible. Oh, but I did crash into the barricade. There's a certain level of skill that I seem to be lacking when it comes to driving this vehicle. And I don't have a steering wheel, so everything is keyboard operated. So you've got this very jerky steering exercise that's happening. Okay, let's have a look. Nice. Let's carry on over here. Okay, so we can unfold these and keep that. I didn't even notch up the first 10% of an hour, which is great. So okay, that's doable. We can go and pack the shorter ones, pack these very heavy ones back to end, and maybe get it that we can cut them shorter but not be penalized for the length. So there we go. That'll work. Too heavy. There's a lumberjack mod that is actually pretty neat. Allows you to cut at a little bit of range, and it gives you an indication of the weight of the timber that you're picking up. So if I look at this timber over here, it's 195. That one is 79.5 and 143. It allows you to go to 180, I think. I think it's 180 it allows you to go to. It cuts quicker, and it does give you a little bit more flexible with the lumberjack mod, a flexibility at least. However, it's not unrealistic. It's just a slight enhancement to the operation. Which means it's not 180. I think it's about 200. Because this is allowing me to pick up 180, but is pretty heavy. Okay. Alrighty, there we go. So in no time we'll be able to afford this big truck. I got to get used to different countries. Where we come from, or at least where I come from, this is called a bucky. It's South Africanism about the size of the vehicle and everything. A truck for us is what you would call a lorry for the British, anybody, in the UK and that kind of thing. For Americans, well, a truck's a truck, I suppose. What you would call a tractor, a truck tractor, that's a truck for us. It's going to pick up, 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 tons. That's a truck. For us, a pickup or a bucky is, small loads. It can do a ton, maybe two. And two is on the outside. That's very rare that it goes that big. It's mostly 1 ton and 1.2 tons. Enough for you to be able to basically move your house around, but not the house itself. Righty, cool. Just checking up on this side. Give me a momentary. Okay, cool. Yeah, George Winter Brown. Unfortunately, we don't have raffles at this point. We've just got the big draw that's happening at right now, which will be this link that I'm putting through now. It's for the Alpine Farming DLC. However, we are looking to get raffles. The mod is in place, so you should be able to do things like gamble. But we'll just test it, give it a go, and see what it does. If there's any bugs or anything like that, I will get them sorted out and work on them. So, Alpine Farming DLC. However, we are looking to get raffles. Jacqueline Jason, yeah, not at this time. That will be coming. We're looking at the mod will be in place in the next probably 2 or 3 streams. Right now, we're still kind of getting to grips with what affiliate means and how to set up our streaming. But it will come soon, and all the bits that you're earning now, at least the points that you are earning now, the channel points, that will still add up. You won't lose anything. It's just it's not going to be allow you to do ranking and draws or anything right now. Alright, so let's take you. Alright, so anybody want to be my first subscriber, the first subscription to my channel, as I only got affiliate on Saturday, anybody who subscribed now would take that first place. So if you want to get that first place, now's the time to go and make it happen. Hopefully it's a fun competition. Yeah. Alrighty, so I'm not going to run along and bore everybody with this for the next 2 hours. I think that maybe what I'll do is rather get a little bit of ground, make up a little bit of ground here, get some feedback as to what's happening with Uncle Paolo, and maybe by that time I've made a few $1,000 or euros in this case, so that I can go and buy a decent piece of land. As I don't know what's going to happen with this, I'm going to work on the premise that I need to go and buy my own stuff, and I'm going to have to just work out something. But I'm sure we'll get this sorted out. It's a little bit of time, a little bit of patience. I hope Uncle Paolo is going to be okay. Yeah, it's it's my aunt I'm more worried about, because this is all those things that weighs down on the family, and as much as it affects the person that it's happening to, it affects everybody around you as well. Just to be clear, my Uncle Paolo is from my aunt's, my mother's side, my aunt's side, and he's married into the family. It's not a blood relation, but he's kind of taken care of everybody as if he was. So he's always been Uncle Paolo. He's like everybody's second dad. So really, really don't want anything bad to happen to him, but things are what they are. Let's see how it pans out. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Okay. Alright, so let's see if we can get that sorted out. This is much better than the little Mahindra. It did a great job, but the Mahindra was not exactly geared for doing this kind of work. So I'm glad that we got something a little bit more robust. And if I look at how many trees are up here, I can probably do maybe 10 loads, with the trees I've cut as well as the trees that are left, maybe 15 loads. But then I have to go, and before I grind all the stumps, I need to go and count how many trees I've cut out and go and get the little baby trees and start planting them. And I don't have money for the equipment, so it's going to be a very manual process. It's going to be running around with a hand planter, basically a spade, and digging a hole, putting the tree in, making sure everything's lined up properly, and then just rinse and repeat. If any of you have ever planted a tree, you'll understand how much effort that actually is. Alrighty, so for those who have joined in the stream now recently, please do go and enter our competition and have a look. Hopefully you can win the prize, which is the FS19 Alpine Farming DLC. The prize is electronic, so it doesn't matter which country you're from, you still have access to getting that prize. It will be issued as either a key from a Giant's key, or it'll be a Steam key. I think that most likely it'll be a Giant's key. As we're buying the prize ourselves, we're very flexible as to how it's going to be played out, so we are open to a suggestion. But any future prizes will be Giants key related, as we are taking on a role of being a Giants ambassador, or at least that's in the offing. So let's see, hopefully that gets done soon, and then I can make a more formal announcement around it. Right now it's kind of happening, and we just got to wait until we get to a point that things are done. So I'm going to carry on with this. I don't think we need to stay in stream for this. There's just a lot of loading of wood that needs to happen. I will continue with this, and then next week Tuesday when we pick up, hopefully by that time I've got a lot more information around Uncle Paolo, his court case, around what's going to happen with the properties. I'm very keen to look at buying field 40 over here, just so that we've got something in close proximity. It is a lot of money, 120,000 euros, but it is something we can look at. Alternatively, we can look at buying this piece of land at the back here, this no-name brand land here. We'd have to harvest it completely. There is not much happening on it. Let me take you for a run around there. So it's all the trees that are over here, but the nice thing about that is because we buy the land, we wouldn't have the same issue where we'd have to go and plant 2 trees for every 2 tree we cut out. So this is technically a forest that's been planted, but if you look at the number of trees here, if we had to put a chipper right down on the ground here, we would make more than enough money just to cover our base costs. Alternatively, if that's not an option, depending if the person doesn't want to sell or not, I was looking at taking up a smaller field on this side of the map. I think it was field, is it 48? No, it's not field 48. It's these 2 unnumbered fields here, and they're a lot cheaper, 36,000 for that one and 42,000 for that one, but it is a very odd shaped field, so it's a bit terraced. There's a terrace here between these 2 fields. There's a terrace on the road around that field, so it's not the most ideal piece of land, but it's something that can give us a little bit of a workable field. We have access to the biogas plant. We've got access to other fields here. We are in the far south of the little village, but most of the stuff we're going to be selling, we can be pushing around probably here at the top, the carpentry area, that type of thing. Alright, so let's run back here and apply a little bit of speed to this, and then get everything harvested and go and sell it. And by the time I post my next video, which will be in about a week's time, I will be able to give everybody an update as to where we are. I am looking at beyond the fields. I do want to go and start looking at contracts, because that's a nice way of making money, but because we don't have any of the vehicles required to perform that, we have to go and buy or lease them, and the cost to go and buy lease, say this tractor and the plow and the weight is probably going to be a lot more than the contract's worth. But if I go and lease it and I go and do several contracts with it, that way I can start building up a little bit of a revenue stream and making a little bit of money out of it. So it's not a great job doing playing. It's hard work and very little reward, but it does help us pay for a vehicle and eventually get to a point where we own the equipment we're looking for. Unfortunately, this leasing the equipment for the job is only available for the locals. We cannot take advantage of that, so I'm hoping that we can get something that's a little bit more reasonable. What I am interested in is this baling contract over here. The equipment though is pretty expensive, so I need to go and get a baler. I need to wrap it, I need to mow it. If I look at the cost of the equipment, if I go in and I look at a mower, if I take a single blade mower, that's going to cost me 1,000 euros plus another 190 a day plus the 400 euros. So for the job that's probably the size of that field, probably about 3 hours. So we got to add another 800 euros to that. So we're looking at 17 plus another, say 2,000 euros over there. Then we need a big enough tractor to be able to do the job. And that piece of equipment, let's just make sure, that is a 20,000 euro piece of equipment. So we can look at the GMD instead. Yeah, I think the GMD, that's 4 meters. Yeah, I think the GMD is the better option. I don't need as big a tractor. It costs a little bit less and it's got a wider working width. So the GMD at 16,000, that's going to cost us about 660, 14, 15, 16, 17, 1,800. We need to make sure we got 1,600 in the account, so we're fine. So that puts us at 6,000 that we need, so we're clear. Then I need to get a baler, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the FBP 3135. That is 76,000, so we need 7,600 in cash money to cover the lease, and this is going to cost us per operating hour probably 2 hours to do a big job like that, so that's another 1,500, and we'd only lease it when we need it, so we can leave it there for now, but we'd be looking at about 6,000 there. So we're rapidly running out of money. We need to put together about 35,000 to be able to take on a big contract like that. Then I still need to go and transport that all those bales. So we need to go and either have a loader, which is expensive, or we need to get a trailer like this where we can go and pick up bales. That baler is a round bale machine, so I can go and pick up a device like this for 50,000 and use that to pick up the bales, which means I can do it a lot quicker. However, it does put us in a position where we are a little bit exposed, because we're now looking at an extra 50,000 euros that we have to take care of, which means 5,000 added to our balance that we need to add, and we're looking at another 3,600 in costs to run that trailer. So we won't use it for more than an hour. We'd lease it, pick everything up, and go and sell it, and it'll be quite quick. Alternatively, we'd need to look at a tractor that can pull all of that equipment. So this little Fiat over here is an option. It's going to cost us 3,000 with a 59,000 or 5,900 deposit amount we need to take care of, and this does not support a front fork. So if we take this tractor, we have to have the trailer. Alternatively, if we take something like the Valtra A series, we need to make sure that the trailer, the baler we're putting at 81 kilowatts, the tractor is more than powerful enough to be able to take care of that. So we are looking at probably the Fendt. The A series is not enough, but the Fendt favorite, we could maybe go up to the 515, which gives us 110 kilowatts. The 511 gives us 85, so we're still okay. We need to do a front loader on it. We don't need any special wheel setups, so that's another 3,900, and this tractor is going to work the hardest, so we're looking at another 7,200, give or take a little bit, and we have to have 7,750 in cash money as almost like a deposit, that 10% that I spoke about. So to be able to do that baling contract of 31,000, it's going to take quite a few hours to complete. We're looking at, we need to have it at least probably closer to 45,000 in the account as a deposit, plus we have to have all the costs that go on top of that, probably another 15,000. So we need about 60,000 euros, and for that 60,000 euros we can look at making about 5,000 or 6,000 euros profit, and then we've leased all this equipment. So if we then can find another contract off the back of that to go and bail, then it's worth our while, but it could just be too expensive to even consider. But either way, that's kind of the plan. That's what I'm looking at. So I'm hoping that I can get to a point where I can go and say this has all been done, and we have got a reasonable amount of money we've worked on. Sorry, I just want to see this G series is also an option, but it is a lot more expensive. But this is a very nice tractor. This is the new G series that's been released by Valtra, and it is quite a stunning tractor. But either way, that's the plan. We'll go with that, and as soon as I have more, then I will update you guys. So I hope to see you all on my stream on Thursday, where we're going to be touching up with Bessie Beneath again, and we're also going to be looking at a new map that we started. It's called No Man's Land, and on No Man's Land it is kind of a survivalist map, but not as well. We started the map with a negative 300,000, not like Bessie Beneath where we had negative 400,000. But the growth on there is there's a lot of grass, so there's a lot of silage. So we managed to be able to dig out of that hole pretty quickly. But it is still a survival map, and it's a busy map. There are probably, I think there's 10 players on that multi map, and we're all fighting for land first of all, and then also to see who's going to make the magic. I don't know. Million was the number we spoke about originally, but I think it's more realistic. It's going to be a 10 million because the silage is so profitable. All right. I think what we're going to do is we're going to jump into a stream with Fluky Stew. Really, really good streamer. I hope you guys enjoy having a look at what he has to say. He's also streaming. He's streaming Farming Simulator tonight. Let me just do that on that side. Okay, so he's streaming Farming Simulator tonight, and hopefully you enjoy his show. Okay, let's just jump into a raid. Thank you everybody for joining me. It has been great. I really appreciate all your support, and hope to see you next Thursday. Enjoy. And hopefully you enjoy his show. Let's just jump into a raid. Thank you everybody for joining me. It has been great. I really appreciate all your support, and hope to see you next Thursday. Enjoy.